Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and this is the presentation for Tuesday, the 4th of October, and we look at what's happened overnight, what's happening in the markets this morning, London time, and what to keep an eye out for during the day. So we start with this screen of is running on Updater, and these are tracker charts. And here, what we have is the long term, a weekly chart, a medium term, a daily chart, Ichimoku cloud, and the short term, a 60-minute chart. And then we've got the 1% targets, 0.5% targets, and 0.1% on the 60-minute chart, point and figure targets. With these targets, it gives us an ability to see the upside. If you want to follow me each week, each day, you can actually go and grab this from the desktops library. If you look in desktops library relating to the data service that you want to use, it could be free internet data or Bloomberg or Reuters, whatever you've got, you can just download this template and follow me. And these tracker charts mean that it's super quick to just run through all of the analysis, so you can copy me each day and then monitor on an ongoing basis throughout the day. So we start by looking at the dollar. Start with Forex first. This is the US dollar. Very bullish still on the weekly chart. We are above the cloud. Price has been struggling a little bit here. We had this big run in 2014. The daily chart is bullish, and the 60-minute chart is also very bullish at the moment. We've got this massive upside target of 64% if the US dollar breaks to new highs on the dollar index, and that's a long way away, of course. We look to these near side targets first, and there are suggestions that we are going to make new highs on this dollar index, and we're seeing that coming in by all the thrust targets. This 103 target would take us into that new high territory. So a strong dollar is still on the cards long on all time frames at the moment on the basis of these charts. These are tracker charts, by the way, and you can set them here, but the screen that you can download has these already set to tracker charts. Then we take a look at the euro, and we see here the euro is bearish on the weekly, trying to just get through on the daily. On the price on the cloud. Here we are bearish on the daily, but we are really just toying with turning bullish, and we're bearish on the 60-minute chart. Downside targets in the short term at the moment, about 110 is where we're seeing prices, and on the medium chart we're seeing 102, 103, 105 for euro dollar. So we are seeing significant downside targets, and the same here, although these two targets here are not activated. So we're looking to these to a move towards parity based on these charts. If we take a look at the Japanese yen, yen is bearish on the long and medium term, and then bullish on the short term chart. Downside targets here, so a bit more of a mixed picture. Now, of course, sterling has been the chart in the news, and we see here making new 30-year lows. And this is no big surprise. This has been on the cards on the long-term charts. We've got parity as a target here on sterling since that Brexit move, and that's activated with the move below the base of the Brexit move. And the near side targets are into the mid 120s, so that's where we're looking to in the short term, but it's bearish on all counts. No great surprise there. If we look at it against the euro, making new lows here as well, and in fact bearish on all time frames, and downside targets here too, so you can keep an eye on that. In fact, if you want to watch sterling really short term, we can just open a 1 minute chart, and if we just take a look at that, the chart to monitor through the day if you're really watching it, and 125.20, 125.10. This chart will change in real time, so that's the chart to watch if you're monitoring that in the short term. Sterling Swiss also looking bearish, of course, with downside targets here, 102, 119, 120 as the near side targets, and then short term into the low 120s from the mid 120s where we are now. And I have some Aussie shares, so I quite like to keep an eye on the Aussie exchange rate, and 159, another 4% downside there, so bearish on all fronts there as well on sterling. If we take a look at stock markets, we start with the S&P 500, bullish. On the weekly, we are in this range at the moment between 2120 and 2180, and we can take this chart out and actually just see that range here and that is really where we're stuck at the moment, narrowing in as we head into the US election most likely. So bullish, bullish, bullish. This market is still looking bullish. All the downside targets were negated in the summer when we made moves to new high. We do have a new downside target here, not yet activated, but we've got upside potential of anywhere between 20 and 30% at the moment. So market's looking bullish and set to run after the US election most likely. We do have some downside targets in the short term, and this is the chart to keep an eye on. Nasdaq also looking bullish, upside potential of around 20 to 30% again. Bullish on all time frames here. So again, these 6 charts just give you an immediate picture of long, medium and short term in terms of the trend, and then also the targets. So really, really valuable. And the Dow, we take a quick look there, much the same picture here, a little bit more mixed on the short term on the Dow. The Russell 2000, the shorter term in the smaller stocks index, looking bullish on all fronts as well. We do have some downside targets here, but really it's these long-term upside targets, again around 30% upside. So market looking very, very strong. Because what I tend to do before the market opens is take a look at the US future, and we're seeing here that the future is looking just only slightly bullish at the open, but not bearish. And I also look at that on the Nasdaq future as well. So in the UK, if you're getting a heads up on where the US market's going to open, that's quite useful. FTSE breaking to new all-time highs today, back above the 7,000 level, quite convincingly up, nearly up 2%. So that is really significant. We've got these long-term upside targets here, 15, 27%. Short-term, medium-term, the targets are less clear. We're sort of reaching those targets at the moment, but the long-term targets for FTSE are very good, and we're bullish on all. FTSE 250 is the next market I look at here. Again, making new highs here, looking very bullish on the medium, short, and long term. But the targets aren't really kicking in here on the 1% chart. So it's the blue chips in the UK that are looking more bullish. If you look at the DAX, just bearish on the weekly, but trying to come through, not making new highs like the FTSE, of course. Bullish on the weekly and the daily, and bullish on the short term. We do have some upside targets, but again, not that compelling. So FTSE looking like the stronger market. Quick look at Tokyo. Some upside targets in the short term, coming back into bullish on the short term, bearish long term still. And there's some quite worrying downside targets. Shanghai closed at the moment, but again, quite bearish on the long term, just bullish on the medium term, but short term bearish again, and with some downside targets. So China still a little bit of a worry. Hang Seng is a proxy for that as well. Bearish on the weekly, and just sort of in the doldrums here on the short term, with some downside targets of as much as 7%. India, one of the better looking markets, bullish. Long and medium term. Short term, just not quite getting through the cloud here in the price, but and we do have some downside potential of about 4%, so just keep an eye on those short term charts. And a quick look at the Australian market, bullish on the weekly, bullish on the daily, bullish on the 60 minutes, so looking more bullish pretty much all round here. 7% upside target short term, and medium term 8%, so quite good there. Take a quick look at commodities. Brent is bearish on the weekly, but has turned bullish on the daily, back above $50, bullish on the 60-minute chart. Upside potential into the mid-50s here, so quite key that we are seeing a improvement in oil, seasonally weak at the time of year. Take a look at WTI, much the same picture, just only turned bullish on the weekly, more so than Brent really, and upside potential around 6 to 8% on these charts, so bullish on the short-term time frame. Heating oil, much the same picture here. US nat gas just turn a bit bullish on the weekly, bullish on the daily, but bearish on the 60-minute chart. Short term, we are seeing some downside potential into the mid-280s. Corn is looking bullish short term, but has been bearish with quite a lot of downward pressure here. So softs generally not looking great with these downside targets and below the cloud. If we take a look at gold, Gold has had a bit of a dive today, down 2%. So that has Weekly is still bullish. That has just dragged the daily a bit bearish, and the 60-minute bearish. Downside targets here of around 268, 277. So we are making a move for those targets, but there is support here, and the long-term target's still quite good, but short-term not looking great. And if we take a look at silver, much the same thing. So metals just falling away quite heavily at the moment. And if we take a look at copper, copper is looking still a bit bearish on the short term, recovering on the medium term, but quite a mixed picture here with mixed targets. Just take a quick look at US bonds. This is the 5-year bond, looking at the yield. Yield recovering here on the short term, so we are seeing a little bit of an improvement there, and also on the medium term, but quite a lot of resistance, and we're bearish long term still, of course. And if we take the look at the euro bond, the bond, we see here, this is the actual bond rather than the yield. We see here that it is just turning down here, so also a sign that yields just slightly improving as well. A few bellwethers to look at. Apple just starting to regain some bullishness on the weekly. The long-term chart had been bearish, the medium-term bearish, bullish, and the short-term just starting to turn bullish. So looking a little bit better for Apple. Google bullish on the long and medium-term time frames. This is a weekly and the daily. Short-term 60-minute, we have been a bit bearish, but that is recovering. Quite a big upside potential here, these targets on Google. And if you run the scans, there's one of the stocks coming up. Amazon, another bellwether, bullish, bullish, bullish on all time frames with upside targets, quite impressive. And if we take a look at Facebook, again, bullish, 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 just turning bullish on the 60-minute chart, and again, quite a lot of upside potential here. Nvidia, what a stock this has been, more than doubled this year. Still holding this, but it's hard to see where this can end. Still a couple of upside targets here, but it's quite it's run a long way. And then if we take a look at Microsoft, just the last of the bellwethers here, we see here bullish, bullish, and bullish. But not quite. Amazon is probably the one there that at the moment is looking like the most convincing. So that's it for today. Keep an eye on the charts, download the template, and run through your own. Anything you want to put in the list, just add it to the list, and you can just literally do this analysis yourself.